and welcome to Horror Movies and Shit. I'm your host, Jim. Mark is not with us today. He lost his voice 2 weeks ago. And lucky for his wife, he hasn't gotten it back yet. So, with us today is Michelle. How are you, Michelle?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. The first thing I need to say before I even introduce you is I have to say thank you because you were kind enough to send me a little bit of a care package. And it was freaking awesome. I'm
Good.
gonna be honest.
I'm glad you liked it.
It was fantastic. I have to show you my favorite thing though. This is amazing. Did you make this?
Yeah. I got the they're knockoff Legos, probably from like Temu or one of those sites, and just kind of put it together.
You are so much more creative than I am. I'm not gonna lie. I am not that creative. I can fix a computer. I cannot put things like that together. That's why
Okay.
I have a. Have you ever seen the movie Short Circuit with the robot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a Lego version of that robot.
Yeah. Johnny 5?
Yeah, I have a Lego version of that robot still sitting in a bag.
That's awesome.
Yep. Because it's going to do nothing but annoy the shit.
How long has it been in a bag?
So far, only a month. So far.
Okay, that's not bad.
So anyway, I want to introduce our audience to you. You and I met on TikTok. You are on TikTok under the Horrorzennial, excuse me. And you direct horror films.
Yeah. I do. I direct and I write them and I film them, and I just have fun with my friends in my backyard, and whatever happens.
So I actually just watched one of your shorts that I hadn't seen yet, called Final Girls.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That one was a lot of fun. I really liked that one. So let's talk a little bit about that.
You.
How did that happen?
So I thought, like, movies, they only talk about how there can only be one final girl, right? And I thought, well, what would happen if there was a lesbian couple in this situation? And the whole thing is a spoof on Friday the 13th. And it's a quick 10-minute movie, and it was literally shot in my friend's backyard. We got a little camping tent, and he dressed up as Jason, and then the two lead actresses. And I just thought, like, what would happen if two lesbians were in this situation? There needs to be two final girls. So that's how the idea came about, and I wrote it real quick. And some of my friends at the time, they went through it and they add a few jokes to it, just to make it more funny. And we filmed it and just had a lot of fun with it.
I have to say that it was quite intelligent. I loved the back and forth between the couple in the tent, like when they're talking about whether or not they should go investigate creepy noises and all that kind of stuff, because that's everything we scream at a movie while we're watching it, right? Don't go out there. What are you doing? Just stay put. But I thought it was really well done. The funniest part of the entire short, though, is the end. When I don't want to ruin it, but you know, it's quite funny. I had quite a good giggle at the end of it. But so tell me about your love for horror movies, because you clearly really love the genre. So how did that get started?
I think it started when I was about 4 or 5. I think the first horror related show that I saw was The Incredible Hulk, and it was one that was on TV and scared me half to death. And then I graduated to watching Jaws when it was on TV, and I was about 5 years old. And watching Jaws afterward, I didn't want to take a bath. I didn't want to use the bathroom because my 5-year-old mind was like, oh, Jaws is going to come out of the toilet and get me. And that just prompted my love for horror, and it went on from like watching Scooby-Doo, and then as I got older, the content kind of progressed to more mature horror.
So what would you say are probably your biggest influences as a filmmaker?
Wes Craven.
Okay.
Hands down. I love everything that he has done. So I try to, for some of my films, I'll have little winks and nods to some of his movies in there. And I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, and that was when the slasher genre was really picking up. So a lot of my horror films are slasher-esque, and I just recently started to pull away from that, and I'll do like paranormal now. I would like to get into body horror, like a werewolf movie or something.
I am dying for a good werewolf movie. It's been a long time since we got a good werewolf movie.
Right. In my opinion, is the best werewolf movie.
I don't disagree. I like the book a bit more. I don't know if have
Okay.
you read Psyche of the Werewolf?
No, I'm not a big book reader. I never really got
This
into books.
you might still like it because
Okay.
most of it is like just a graphic novel. It's a bunch of short death scenes with some artwork
Nice.
interspersed, and then the final part of like maybe 30 pages or so is where you get an actual story.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's a lot of fun. It's hard to find, but even still, the book I thought was really well done and amazing. I can honestly say I've seen Silver Bullet once. I've never gone back to it.
Okay.
Not to say didn't enjoy it. I just never
Okay.
went back to it.
Hmm.
And that's sort of a pattern for me. I don't go back to things unless I absolutely love them. So it's not to say anything against the movie itself.
Sure.
But
Sure.
if you want a recommendation for a good werewolf movie that you haven't seen that is probably not quite as serious as Silver Bullet, Big Bad Wolf from
Hmm.
2006 with Kimberly J. Brown.
Okay. I'll look. Yeah, I'll look for it.
There's a lot of werewolf dong in that movie. It's hysterical. I'm not even going to clarify that. You'll be laughing your ass off.
Okay.
it's
Okay.
it's absolutely hysterical. But anyway,
So watch
I
that one
digress.
with friends, huh?
Yeah, that's going to be. So I used to have this thing where I would watch. I had a movie that I would watch with anybody that I just met. You know, like they came
Hmm.
over for dinner or whatever with friends to see if we could be friends. Because if they found this movie
Okay.
funny, then we would vibe. Have you seen the movie Dead Alive?
Oh yeah. Uh huh.
That movie I would put on for anybody that I met.
That
Yeah,
movie. Okay.
that was
Okay.
my litmus test. Like
And
if you can sit through this movie, we're okay.
okay.
So I need to ask you about the posters behind you because there's some movies that I really love. Like Pumpkinhead is one of my favorite movies ever. 13 Ghosts, I've never
Hmm.
seen the movie all the way through.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just curious, what do you love about? I'm guessing you love the movie, or do you just love the artwork for the poster?
I love the movie. It's camp and cheesy, and the characters, especially Shannon Elizabeth's character, or it's so horribly done.
Yeah.
Uh, but I love Matthew Lillard in there. I love the cinematography of it, the whole storyline of it. Yeah, it's just one of those fun late 90s, early 2000s popcorn flick. And it just, yeah,
There's
really sang to me.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like I probably would really love it if I sat down and watched the whole thing. But for whatever reason, I've never had the opportunity to sit
Yeah.
down and go through the entire movie. Seen bits and pieces, have no
Yeah.
complaints about it. But that's neither here nor there. So let
Yeah. You definitely have to put on your 90s and early 2000s
yeah.
brain to like get through it. If you watch it through a 2020 lens, you're just going to be like, oh, this is awful.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I like to think that I can appreciate movies for the time period they were released. I don't know if it always works, but I try.
Hmm.
So let's go back to you though.
Yeah.
You and I talked about
Okay.
a feature that you made. I think is it still it's on Tubi, right? Season 666.
It is.
I read a little
It
bit of
is.
trivia about the film, and I had a question. Um,
Okay.
on
Okay.
IMDb, it says that you filmed that movie over only 2 days. Is that correct?
In 2 days. Yeah.
And you rented an
That is.
Airbnb.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Did you tell
Yeah.
them you were renting that location to shoot a movie?
No.
I mean, because I figured they
No.
probably would have had some questions, right?
Yeah. I've rented Airbnbs a few times for movies that I'm filming, and the first time that I did that, I was very upfront with the owner of the Airbnb, and it's like, look, I'm shooting a movie here. It's a horror movie. Like, I'm going to clean up. Everything's fine. They thought that I was actually filming an adult
Oh,
film, so they kind of gave me some crap
yeah,
about it. Yeah. And I was like, no, I promise it's not an adult
right.
film. And so ever since then, it's my approach is more ask for forgiveness instead of
Yep.
permission. and I haven't had a problem yet.
Well, that's a
So
good thing.
I'm just gonna keep on with that.
Good. That's probably a good thing. I do
Yeah.
have to say that location was beautiful. That house was gorgeous, and the fact that it had that much
Very,
land,
very nice house.
yeah, and the fact that there was that much
Hmm.
land for you to be able to film I don't know what you call it, but like I call it the gauntlet, where they're outdoors, um, and trying to escape the killer. Like that land is beautiful.
Yeah. It was through moving magic, we were able to make it seem like it was a bigger property than
Oh,
what it was. Like of the arena area, it was 2 acres, but most of it was covered in like really thick to access it. We filmed it in the middle of August, so it was very hot, very buggy at the
okay.
in the evening. It was when Ohio was being infested with cicadas.
Oh,
Back in we filmed it in 2021, in August 2021. I think it was like, I don't know, when the 10-year or 17-year cicadas were out.
yeah.
So a lot of dialogue, if you like pay attention, it has that that little locust noise going on, and it was hard to get that out in post production.
I can imagine. So we've talked about season 666 before, like on TikTok lives and stuff, and I'm curious. I'm still curious about the bad guy in the film. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's really bad. He sort of has to do this, right? Because that he's being controlled to run this game show. But that device he has on the back of his neck.
Hmm. Hmm.
How did you get that idea? Like, how did that come about? Because that's a very interesting concept. Because before you explain it in the film, I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Why is there a red light on the back of his neck? That like drove me nuts.
Hmm. Yeah. So that it kind of came from, if speaking of Stephen King, the
Yep.
Running Man with the movie
Yep.
Schwarzenegger in it. So it kind of came from that. They had those devices, um, the collars
Yep.
around their neck at the beginning, so they couldn't escape their little
Right.
prison area. And I borrowed from that, and I didn't have the budget to make an actual like
Right.
steel collar. And I wanted to be sensitive to the times of slavery when people
Yep.
had to wear those collars. So I wanted to minimize it and just have it a real small piece just on the back of the
And I thought
neck.
you did a really good job, especially after it's explained what what the purpose of it was. Like I was like, oh,
Hmm.
that's pretty cool because this was not a large budget film, right? You guys were working on a shoestring. You
No,
guys did a great job. Like
thank
I
you.
really, with low budget films, it's either going to be really terrible or really good. And you try to adjust expectations, but sometimes you just can't. But like even the characters and the writing, like you really don't like the characters you're not supposed to like. And actually, I'm not
Hmm.
going to lie, I don't know that I really cared for any of the characters too much. But I think,
That's okay.
in my opinion, that was by design, right? Because you don't really root
Hmm.
for any of them, really, because they all have their flaws because they're human. But that being
Hmm.
said, like the actors were great, the dialogue seemed natural. You have the Playboy sleazebag,
Yeah.
the girl that he hurts, all that kind of stuff, which I thought was really really well done. Which is how you can tell that you guys have a real love for the genre because they're not just tropes and they're like they don't take themselves too seriously because you can tell that they're obviously stereotypes, but they're not ridiculous
Hmm.
stereotypes, right? They fit where they're supposed to, but they're
Right.
not 2D characters, and I love that about the film.
Right. Thank you. Improvised by the cast. The
Which is
whole entire
awesome.
movie was improvised. Thank you. Um, so I think that helps. It was an actual conversation that they were having, and
Right.
they're just talented improvers, and they were able to just bounce back and forth off each other.
And that's great. So I'm curious, you in your projects, do you use a lot of the same actors? Like, and when you write, do you write for those people, or do the people just happen to fit with those characters?
Usually, I will approach the actors that I have in mind, and I'll ask them, "Will you be in this?" And most of the time, they say yes without knowing what the movie's about or what the script is. We just have a trust for one another because we are friends and we are in a local theater community here. So we've been working together in theater for close to 10 years now. So we know each other really well, and just know, like, they know that I will never put sexual assault in my movie, that I care about choreographing intimate scenes. So like I always put their safety first, and they know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will write with the actor in mind. I prefer to do it that way. So when I'm writing a character, if I have an actor in mind who's like 5'2", I'm not going to write that this character is going to reach up on a shelf that's 7 feet high with no problem, just something
Right.
like that. Um, so I approach the actors first, and then hopefully they say yes. And if they do, I write it to how I see them playing it.
So I'm curious, like with season 666, how did that idea come about? Like where did the inspiration for the film come from?
So I knew I wanted to make an improvised horror movie. So two of my good friends who are in the improv scene and know horror very well, the three of us got together over breakfast, and I said, let's just have a brainstorming meeting. So we brainstormed several ideas, and you know how that just kind of like veins and branches, they just veer off and they go to one another. And one of them said that they really liked in Halloween Resurrection that it was a game show, and then Michael
Okay.
Myers crashes it. And we thought, hey, let's take that a step further. And so I feel like it's kind of Halloween Resurrection meets uh, Jason 9. What's it? Jason Goes to Hell. So
Yeah.
at the
Okay.
beginning of Jason Goes to Hell, you have the FBI or whoever, they have Jason cornered. And
Yeah.
so then in Halloween Resurrection, it's all about a reality TV show that is playing on air. So I kind of mashed those two ideas together, and that's how the killer in season 666, his name is Raymond Burrows. So Raymond Burrows is captured by the Green Berets, and then he's sold off to an entertainment company for $44 billion, and they want their money back, so they create a reality TV show.
Okay. Interesting. I had a whole train of thought going. I just totally went out of my head because I'm trying to.
That happens.
I hate when I do that. But uh, where was I going with this? So what do you have coming up? While I try and regroup, what are you
Sure.
currently working on that you're excited about?
So right now I'm in the process of editing another horror short. It's about 35 minutes long, and it's called Retreat. And it's about a group of female writers who decide to go on this writing retreat to just brainstorm and learn off one another. And then as the weekend progresses, they're all getting picked off one by one. And they have to figure out who it is.
Oh, okay. I love a good slasher
Mhm.
flick. I'm not gonna lie. Even if they're crappy, they always get me on the edge
Right.
of my seat. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I
Yeah.
absolutely love them. I'm curious though. I mean, you said Wes Craven was a big inspiration for you. Please tell me you, because I'm a big Wes Craven fanboy. However, I have two comments about his catalog of work that are a little controversial.
Okay.
So, have you seen the movie Deadly Blessing? Number one, it's first question.
Okay. I have not.
Okay,
No.
so that came out a year before Sleepaway Camp did, and
Okay.
that has the same twist in it that Sleepaway Camp
Really?
has, and I think it's done
Okay.
so much better. But that's my
That
opinion.
sleepaway camp. Okay.
So check that out. It's also the
Okay.
first movie Sharon Stone ever
I
was in.
will. Okay. Oh
Yeah,
wow. Yeah, that's definitely worth
yeah,
checking
it's
out then.
fantastic. And also, Chiller is probably the most boring film I've ever seen in my life, and I have yet to get through more than 5 minutes of it. That is not a top tier Wes Craven
Okay.
film.
Okay. Fair. Fair.
So, what is your favorite Wes Craven film? I'm really curious now. You talked about Silver Bullet, but that's Stephen King. So,
Yeah. So normally I would say Nightmare on Elm Street 3, although he just wrote part of
mm-hmm.
it. So it's really not a Wes Craven film. So I would have to say New Nightmare, and then Scream is very close to New Nightmare.
And those are absolutely fair because I still to this day say if A New Nightmare was released today with an A24 label on it, it would be a box office hit. Because it
Right.
did all of the meta
Yeah.
stuff before Scream, and it was fantastic. But that's just my
Yeah.
opinion. I've loved it, and I was so disappointed when it came out in theaters. It played in my town for a week, and I kid you not, 1 week. I went and saw it in theaters, and it closed that Friday.
How I feel about it, I didn't know until I saw it at the video store, and I followed
Oh,
horror very closely when I was younger and would go see the movies, and I didn't like see it in the paper or anything. So I think it was just one of those like it's out for a weekend, it bombed, and they
yep.
got rid of
I
it.
don't understand why it bombed though, because everything about it is so well done. Like I
It is.
absolutely, I think it's so great. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Who
Yeah.
knows? I could be
Like
like I said. I'm
I
a fan,
think
but
the fans went into it thinking that it was going to be the MTV Freddy that they
yeah,
had grown to love. And
yep,
it wasn't. Freddy was different. His look was different. He has 5 claws instead of 4 razors. You know,
yep.
I think that they just weren't ready for it.
And that's entirely possible. But if you think about it, right? I thought, in personally anyway, number one, it did exactly what Dream Warriors did, where it raised the level on the special effects, right? Because like even just that
Yeah.
freeway scene was amazing. The scene where Julie's getting dragged across the ceiling by Freddy in the hospital, very reminiscent of Nightmare One,
Yep.
but so much more brutal, right?
Sure.
Because you see
Right.
everything. There's nothing left to the imagination. But I don't know. I just I it angers me that it didn't do better, and I love that it's getting such a good following now.
I know.
I have a visceral reaction to its box office net. It drives me insane. Uh, but another Wes Craven film I'm a huge fan of that was a giant mess was Cursed. I love that
I
film with
loved
Christina Ricci.
Cursed. Yeah,
I
I
think
loved
it's
that.
so much fun.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a mess of a movie because so was Grease 2, and I still love that one. Like
I love Grease
halfway
too.
halfway through the movie, Frenchie just
Oh my God.
disappears with no explanation.
She does. She does. My love for motorcycles stem from Grease too.
Oh, okay.
Like I would sing Cool Rider all the time.
Not gonna lie, so did I.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I say that my spirit animal is Stephanie
Yeah,
Zanoni.
and
Yeah.
I did not think Adrian Zemed was not great in that movie, but I still love him to death. Like I think it was fantastic. I was much more a
Yeah.
fan of Goose and Sharon. They were my favorite couple in the
Okay.
film.
Sharon's great,
Yeah.
yeah, and then, I love when people sing the "Girl for All
Yep.
Seasons" song, and there was I saw I think it was on Instagram, someone had on top of their Christmas tree a picture of Michelle Pfeiffer dressed in the, like,
Oh,
Christmas tree
oh,
outfit
that's
from
great.
her solo. Amazing.
That is awesome. I love that. That is so great. I I'm trying to think. So I love trashy movies. Do you please
Mhm.
tell me you love trashy movies?
I do.
Okay, great. So I one of my favorite trash well, and I don't know if it's considered a trash movie. It's utterly ridiculous. I just watched the other day was Howard the Duck, right? Not
Okay.
necessarily
Yeah.
horror, and I hate superhero movies, but he is a DC character and or no, he's MCU actually. I think I don't know. He's a comic book hero, but that movie is so fucking ridiculous. And it epitomizes the cheese that I loved in the 80s, which is probably why I love movies like Big Bad Wolf from 2006 now, because they're utterly ridiculous.
Okay.
Or Doll Shark, or Ouija Shark versus Terrogator, like all legitimately terrible movies, but they are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So tell me your
Right.
favorite terrible movie.
Oh, the most recent one that I can think of is Zombievers,
I love that movie. Oh my
and they're
god.
just you know what movie I'm
I
talking
love that
about?
movie so hard. That, oh, when the oh my god. I don't know what it is, but even in movies like The Rage, Carrie 2, which try and take themselves too seriously, when somebody's penis gets ripped off, I lose my
Yeah.
shit and it's so funny. So like
Yeah.
when Zachary Ty Bryant gets his junk thrown into the pool, or that beaver attacks the guy in on the dock or whatever, like I was laughing my ass off. I
Mhm.
don't know why. It's probably it's just
Yeah.
Schadenfreude, but I think I find it hysterical.
It is. It is hysterical. I was back in the late 90s when Jack Frost came out, and the
Yep.
Killer Snowman, and I had such a blast with that movie. It was phenomenal when he gets hit by the car and he goes, "I can see my
Yeah.
house from here." He's like flying
Yep.
through the air.
So, another movie that I enjoy that's a little bit ridiculous like that is Thanksgiving. Have you seen it?
I have,
I
yeah.
love the fact that on the cover art it says
Yeah.
boobs within the first 2 minutes. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Or when the girl bends down to talk to the turkey that's wearing her father's face, like it's just so terrible. And I love everything about it.
It
It
is
is
terrible.
absolutely.
Yeah. There was also it, it was Return to Blood Fart Mountain or something like
Is it
that.
right? I've heard of it. Isn't it Blood Fart Lake though?
Okay.
I
Is it
think.
okay?
I think.
Yeah,
Don't get me. I've
probably.
never
Yeah.
seen it, but I've heard of it, so I know what you're talking about.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one of those where it is just so nonsensical, but they know that they're being total
Right.
buffoons and they just have so
And
much fun with it.
that's
And
really what
yeah.
you have to, in my opinion, when you make a bad movie or you're making a movie that's not great. If you just
Mhm.
have a blast with it, that's all that matters, because people are going to see how much fun
Yeah.
you're having, right? But
Right. Right.
like, and it can go the other way too. Like with your film Season 666, everything flowed so well.
Mhm.
You could tell not only was there great chemistry between the cast, but they had a good time with just being on set and being together and making this film. So they either A, were really
Right.
invested in just making a good film, like, and I'm curious, you said it was all improvised, but did you at least have plot points for them to hit? Like, hey, he's going
Yeah.
to take this person out, or he's going to take that person out, or this is the final girl, that kind of stuff?
Mhm. Yeah, all of that was already planned out. It's just the dialogue improvised. So before each scene, I would take the actors in that scene and tell them, okay, in your dialogue, I need you to get point A to point B. And then for some scenes, I was like, and I need you to say this specific line because then we were going to
Okay.
use it at a later point.
Gotcha. Now, do you think it, well, I don't know about think, but is it harder to direct when your actors are improvising, or is it harder to direct when it's scripted?
Um, I think it's harder to direct when it's improvised, only because working the camera as well, I don't know where they're
Okay.
going in the scene. So it was a lot of like, oh, you're out of frame, come back and let's try that again. But with directing it, the actors knew their characters, they knew the trope that they were playing and the stereotypes that they were playing. So for the most part, all the actors were also horror fans, and they just knew how to make those characters live on screen the way that they needed to.
That's awesome that you were able to. I mean, because even as a director, you have to sometimes pull that performance out of them when they don't have the direction. So I imagine that process has to be a little more difficult too when
Mhm.
everything's improvised, right? Um, I
Right.
guess I'm. guess that's the end of that thought, because I've never directed a film, so I wouldn't know if it wasn't difficult, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm incredibly lucky with the actors that I know. The hardest part that I have for directing is choosing the right actor, and so far I've done that
Okay.
well. So when I roll camera, the actors just do it, and that makes my job as a director really easy because they are so talented, and I'm very, very fortunate.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think that's fantastic. In my opinion. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying. The chat's not working, so I'm trying to get the other platforms up so that I can
Okay.
get the chat up. 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry if you could hear yourself for a minute. I know that's weird.
No, you're
Okay,
okay.
so we talked about your inspirations. We've talked about the film Season 66. How did the deal to get it on Tubi? How did that come about?
I went through an aggregator site called
Okay.
Film Hub, and as long as you pass their quality control, they will then submit it to hundreds of streaming sites because there are so many streaming platforms now. And they kind of match you to the streaming site that your film genre is. So I was pitched to like Tubi and Horror Fossum, and then the YouTube slasher site. So I was pitched to those platforms, and yeah, it was pretty easy actually. Um, yeah, and I kind of compare it to how Amazon has their
Mm-hmm.
self-publishing site. It's pretty similar to that. As long as you pass quality, they will submit it to the different platforms, and then those platforms will review they want it, and then they accept it from there. So I was accepted to Tubi, Fossum Horror, and then whatever the YouTube slasher uh, site is.
I don't know about that one. I'm going to have to go check that out.
It's
I've not
basically,
heard
yeah,
of it.
basically you just go on YouTube. It's the YouTube TV, and I
Okay.
I don't
Yep.
have YouTube TV, so I don't know how
I
to
do.
like find it or okay. Well, yeah, just type
I'll,
in
I'll have,
season 666 and it should come up.
I will look that up for sure. I mean, I did get
Okay.
a chance to watch it on Tubi, so I'm
Okay.
okay with that already. But I do want to. I'm interested in this slasher thing. So do you find it? I so independent horror right now is having a resurgence. Not I don't want to say resurgence, but an explosion, right, with the advent of Terrifier
It
and how
is.
much it's blowing up.
Yeah.
Do you find that has helped open doors for you with your creation, your movies and your creations and that kind of stuff, or have you not really seen an impact?
I would say that movies like Terrifier, because they started off as independent films and low budget independent films as well, that has kind of inspired me to just work extra hard or work a little bit harder um, to have that type of quality in my movies. So maybe it does get picked up by mainstream or Bloody Disgusting sees it at a film festival sort of thing. So I really appreciate all the work that the Terrifier crew has put into their franchise, and it's a very well deserved attention that they are getting. So I would love for something like that to happen with my
Oh
film.
yeah, I mean, I think everybody would, right? I
Sure.
I am very vocal about this. I am not the right audience for the Terrifier films, even though I'm wearing
Hmm.
a Terrifier shirt. I do love
Okay.
I do love the character of Art the Clown, right? And I think it's fantastic what the Terrifier franchise has been able to do for independent cinema. However, I'm
Hmm.
just not the right audience for the senseless gore and the nonstop brutality, right? I
Right.
need more of a fixed story, or
Yeah.
at least some sort of character development. And I'll be honest, the only reason I've even seen the third Terrifier, because I've only seen the first before a few months ago when I went to Miami for a horror movie convention. We got to sit and watch
Okay.
Terrifier 3 with David Howard Thornton and Damien Leone. So it was a pretty great
Oh, nice.
experience. So I enjoyed that part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care for the film. So Scott says
Right.
that we are
Yeah.
both rather eloquent. So thank you, Scott. You're very
Well, thank you,
kind.
Scott.
He's the nicest guy ever. I
Thank
swear to
you.
God. Anyway, so with that, what do you have in your pocket that you want to work on? What is your dream project?
Oh, I would love to work on any Nightmare on Elm Street movie if they ever get the rights to a studio. Um, yeah, that would be. I would do that for free. I would probably pay them just just to be involved in some way. So honestly, anything to do with Nightmare on Elm Street, I would
In
just die.
in that vein, let me ask you then, what did you think of the reboot?
Hmm. um. It, so it was awful, and
Yeah,
I say that for many aspects. I if it wasn't a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, if it just happened to be about some guy who was haunting your dreams, I like the blood really good. I liked the micro that they added to it, but how they uh, took away the strength and just natural wisdom of Nancy
yeah.
Thompson and what they did with the Nancy Holbrook character. It just wasn't for me. I thought it was an insult to the original,
I agree. I had so many problems.
to be honest.
I had so many problems with the reboot. Um, Not the least of which was the makeup for Freddy. I understand the point of trying to make it a
I
more
do.
realistic makeup, and
Hmm.
to be more reflective of an actual burn victim. However, I think it impeded Jackie Earl Haley's ability to properly convey the menace, and even sometimes to just
Yeah.
speak in general. It was very difficult to overcome, and I really hated what they did with the characters. The making her a survivor of his, and all that, because it really was not
Hmm.
faithful to the source story.
No, no, not at all.
So
And that was a big problem that I had
yeah,
with it, that they tried to do this twist where they were going to make the audience feel bad for Freddie because he was wrongly accused of this heinous
right,
crime. And then, oh, guess what? He actually did do it. So it's like, don't try to make me feel sorry for this guy. That's not the point of this
right,
movie. We're supposed to be rooting for the victims.
exactly. But I will say that if that is the vibe you want, that sort of movie where somebody just sort of haunts your dreams or that sort of stuff, check out Bad Dreams with Jennifer Rubin. If you haven't seen it already, it is
Okay.
amazing. She plays a girl who has survived a cult, where everybody else
Okay.
has perished, and she's now being haunted by the cult leader while she's in an asylum.
Okay.
It came out not too long after Nightmare 3, so it's sort of considered a Nightmare ripoff,
Okay.
but I think it is so well done. I got the chance to meet her at a horror movie convention. She's probably the loveliest woman or person that I've ever talked to, because we walked into
Hmm.
the autograph room, and she came to us because it was a Friday and nobody was there. She walked up to us in the middle of the autograph room. We started having a chit chat. We go back to her
Hmm.
table, and I'm looking at all of her pictures, and I see this picture, and it's a scene in the film where she's standing outside the house right before all hell breaks loose. And I said, I love Nightmare on Elm Street 3 because they had almost the entire cast there. I said, but I want you to sign this picture from Bad Dreams. And she's like, nobody ever wants me to sign that picture. So we talked about it, and I'm like, that was an amazing film. Like, I thought it was
Yeah.
really well done. I don't care if anybody calls it a Halloween knockoff. It was just so well done that I thought it was amazing. And if
Hmm.
you haven't seen it, I cannot highly
Yeah.
recommend it enough.
Okay, yeah, I will definitely find it. I've before, and you're right. She is a very lovely person. She embraces the fans. Someone there was dressed up as Taryn at the
Oh wow!
convention, and she walked over to the cosplayer and just hugged her and loved on her and said how much she loved her outfit, and just yeah, they had a great time, and the cosplayer was on cloud nine. So I'm sure that made it all
And
worth it.
you know what's great? And I love this about conventions because I went to I was just speaking about the one with David Howard Thornton, and there was a young man that was dressed up as Art the Clown, but he clearly was having some sort of issue with getting in line to go up and meet David Howard Thornton. So somebody brought it to his attention. So he just sort of
Mm-hmm.
stopped everything he was doing and went over and talked to the kid for a while. And I
Oh,
thought that
good.
was amazing. I thought that was
Yeah.
so great for him to do that. Like, it sucked that we were stuck in line, but I loved the gesture. Right?
Right.
It could not, we could not have been stuck for a better reason. And I
Yeah.
love that. Like,
And
that's one of the main reasons I love going to conventions.
right. And that happens with in Matthew Lillard's line. He will stop
Mm-hmm.
everything. If there's a little kid who wants to meet Shaggy, you know, he'll step out of line and let the little kid come first. And
Yeah,
that's great. Like he
it is.
understands, like, as a parent, that's probably torture, like a real nightmare
Yeah,
to wait in line 3 hours holding your child so he can meet
yeah.
Shaggy.
I'm sure. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's absolutely minded. I couldn't even imagine because I have trouble as an adult. I couldn't imagine if I had a small child with me.
Right.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way. I barely have any patience as it is. Having a kid there would probably drive me insane. But that is what it is, unfortunately. So I see
Hmm.
you. Do you collect movie posters or just the posters of movies that you like?
This is just artwork that I have here. Let me see if I can zoom in. There's Ghostface is right there with a little alien on his
Oh, nice.
shoulder. But
That's great.
yeah, those are
I
just
have I
posters
have
that I
that same
like the
alien hanging
artwork.
from my ceiling.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is my office where I just have a horror decor in here and happy space, my little lady lair, I guess.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
absolutely
not
awesome.
not so much a
So
man cave, but
we talked earlier about Final Girls, right? And how you were wondering what it was like for if a lesbian couple were the two final people in a horror movie, right? And
yeah.
it's a bit of a spoof, but I'm curious, what do you think of representation from the LGBTQIA plus community and horror current state versus, let's say, in the early 2000s?
There's definitely more queer characters in movies, which is awesome. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it used to be, especially like in the 80s and 90s, I would purposely watch a movie or a TV show if they had a gay character,
Right.
even if, like, oh, the waitress is wearing a rainbow button and like that's the only mention in the whole movie, like I would still watch it, sort of thing,
Yeah.
just to be able to support that. But now there's so many movies who and TV shows that are open to those kind of characters that it's hard to keep up with it all. And
Right.
that's what I like. There's too many now, and that's a really
Right.
good thing to have.
Yep. I agree. So when I was growing up, there really wasn't, because I'm a little bit older than you.
Hmm.
I'm Gen X, so I'm a little bit
I'm
older.
Gen X, technically.
Well, technically, but I'm still a little bit older. I will bet you any amount of money. But I
Hmm.
remember when I was younger, I was, even before I realized that I was gay. Um, I didn't see any of that until probably the '90s when Will and Grace, became huge. Like, you might see him as a side character, like in My
Hmm.
Best Friend's Wedding with Julia Roberts, where they're like the ridiculous best friend and that kind of stuff. But you didn't see any.
Yeah.
This is going to sound terrible, but any normal representation where they're just people, right? They're not
Uh-huh.
overly flamboyant, or they're not, some sort of almost like the butt of a joke, which drove me insane.
Right. Right.
Because the representation that I personally like, right, is, I think that every character should be written as though it doesn't matter, right? You could pull two characters out, like a couple in a story. You could pull them out. They could be gay, they could be lesbian, they could be asexual, and it would not impact the story at all.
Hmm.
Case in point, and this is going to sound really weird, but A Knock at the Cabin. Have you seen it?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so I read the book, and I hated the book because it focuses
Okay.
it puts far too much importance on a crime that happens in one part of the story. In the movie, they treat it a bit differently, where it's not so much a focus. it just is sort of motivation for other things that happen, which I think is a much better way to treat it, in my opinion.
Right.
But the characters, the two fathers in the both in the film and in the book, you could, with the exception of that one, the one thing that happens, the hate crime that happens, you could substitute them for any couple. They could be straight, they could be gay,
Right.
they could be lesbian. It's just about the family dynamic, and that's the sort of representation that I appreciate personally. I know it's not for everybody,
Right.
but that's what I like seeing now in cinema, and that's what I'm starting to see, and that's what I appreciate.
Yeah, you are absolutely right on that. I remember when Halloween 20, I think it was Halloween Kills came out. The two gay characters that
Mm.
spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it. The Is that
And
in Halloween
kills, yes,
Kills?
kills.
Yes,
It's
okay.
Big Jim and
So
Little Jim
the
or something like
two
that.
gay characters,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, Big Jim and Little Jim,
yeah,
something like that. Yeah, and so they end up getting
yep,
killed by Michael Myers, and all this clickbait came out that, oh, Michael Myers is a homophobe
yep.
and blah blah blah. And I don't agree with that
No,
at all. He doesn't
no,
care that there were two gay men living together. Michael is an equal opportunist when it comes to killing
right.
someone. And I felt that if those two characters didn't get killed because they're gay, that that's not equality there.
Agreed.
So the fact that they were killed just because they were there, like that's what I think
And
LGBTQ needs to strive
I
for.
absolutely agree that, and that's exactly what I mean. Like even in the film, right? The two characters, I don't remember the Big John, Little John, whatever it was, but
Yeah.
they they didn't do anything stereotypically. Like they thought somebody was in their house and they locked down their house and they were going to kick some ass, right?
Yeah.
They were just
Yeah.
going to go at it, which I thought was great, even though they were both high as a kite. But I mean, I thought it was great, and the fact that they got killed, and it had zero to do with who they were. It was just because they
Mhm.
were in his house.
Yeah.
That's all it was. They were in his house. They were gonna die.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even see that when in Halloween, in the 2018 version of Halloween, he kills his first kid. There was zero outrage
Mhm.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah. No one cared about that.
Yeah, fuck the
Yeah.
kids.
But all of a sudden he kills two gay men. Yeah.
Yeah,
F those kids.
exactly. Not to promote anybody else, but I have a friend who just wrote a book called "F Them Kids." Not gonna lie,
Oh, good.
it's
Okay.
all about creepy kids. It's actually kind of great.
All
But
right.
anyway, I digress. But that's what I don't get. So in that vein, there's a new movie out. Well, it's not new. I think it came out in 2023, called Swallowed. Have you seen it?
Okay. I have not. No.
So Swallowed touts itself as body horror, but it's, in my opinion, it's not. Um, Unless you think one
Okay.
scene of fisting is body horror. And I'm probably going to get us kicked off of TikTok right now for saying that, but
Yeah,
um,
you are.
so I don't remember the main characters' names, but
Mhm.
Mark Patton is in it from Nightmare on Elm Street 2,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and he plays a villain. So, but it was great because these two guys, this gay man is going to go be a huge gay porn star in LA, and his best friend is taking him out for one more night, but his friend is secretly in love with him, kind of. But
Okay.
anyway, so we wind up having to do this drug deal with a very, very horrible person. Jenna Malone plays. I've never seen her play um, a bad character before, like as in a
Mhm.
bad person,
Right.
and she does a
Right.
really good
Yeah.
job in this movie. Even though she's not in it very much, but she forces them to swallow these condoms full of something and gives them very specific instructions. And of course, everything goes wrong. Um,
Yeah.
and I for having a very queer centric cast and being a very low budget independent film, it was super well done. And I just I don't know I can't say enough good things about it. Like it was such a surprise, but it's just not the body horror I wanted it to be.
Okay. That's fair.
So if you want a good kind of, it's almost a creature feature, but
Okay.
anyway, if you want a good creature feature, that's a good one. And then, have you seen Bad Girl Boogie?
No.
So it sounds awful, but it has a sequence in it
Okay.
where the main character is going through something extremely traumatic, and it
Mhm.
handles her having flashbacks of that scene in such a way that is so respectful that it was just, in my opinion, absolutely amazing. Um, I cannot recommend it
Okay.
enough because it is a very queer centric film, because there's some representation
Mhm.
for every part of the alphabet. Um, and we just got restricted on TikTok. Isn't that great? Uh,
Are you
yeah.
serious?
Anyway, so there is, but anyway, it deals with mental health in a way that I had not seen done before, and it's very artistic. But I can't recommend it enough. It's
Mhm.
another film you'll find on Tubi. It's really, really well done.
Okay.
Now, to go the other way,
Yep. When I was
go
in
ahead.
Yeah. When I was in college, I tried to turn all of my classes into a gay studies
Oh,
class, even if it had nothing to do with it. So like any type of report or research that I had to do, I would always do it's on how it impacted the gay and lesbian community. And I think that has now transferred over to when I watch
yeah.
movies. And even when the character isn't written gay, the actor had no intent in making them gay. I'm like, I kind of have a little bit of a vibe coming from them. And it most recently happened in the original Friday the 13th. Brenda's
Oh,
character, she's kind of giving me a little bit of a lesbian vibe there.
okay. I could see that.
So the next time you watch it, see if you pick up on it. I mean, there's the stereotypes where she's a
Yeah.
vegetarian in it. She has no interest in any of the boys right when they are playing strip
Yep.
monopoly,
Yep.
and it's
I
the
I could
boy,
see that.
whatever his name is, I think it's Bill.
Yeah.
He's supposed to like start stripping down, and she's like, oh, guess the game is over, it's too
Yep.
windy out, and like totally squashes the game.
I can totally see that. I never would have had that thought before, but I
Hmm.
could totally see that for sure. I could totally see that. That's interesting. So, but on the other end of that spectrum, right, is like, I don't know if you've seen, Peacock did this They Slash Them, which is a,
Yeah, I saw it.
I don't think it was really well done. I liked things
No.
about the or ideas in the film, like Anna Klumsky playing the crazy psycho. I thought was fantastic. It was great to see her because she
Yeah.
hasn't been in anything in much. It was great to see her fully embrace her psycho and go absolutely apeshit. Um,
Mhm.
but other than that, I think a lot of that movie fell flat. And then there's movies like Hostel, and most people don't even remember the scene, but I do, because I'm like, what is going on right now? But the scene where the two main characters, they bring the girls back to their hotel room, and they're having a
Mhm.
heavy duty petting session, and the one guy can't take his eyes off of his friend, and I'm like,
Yeah. What's that all
but
about?
why? Because never in the story has it been talked about, and never is it talked about again. It's just that one scene for no reason.
Mhm.
And that, I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't like representation just to throw in representation. It's pandering, in my opinion, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Kylie says she agrees that she
Right.
was disappointed
And
with They Slash Them.
yeah. Yeah, I was disappointed with that film as well. And there are a lot of movies and TV shows that just throw in a gay makeout scene just so they can pass GLAAD's test and they can just see we're cool with the gays, it's
Yeah, and
fine.
but it's
Okay.
like that with anybody, right? I wouldn't want a straight couple thrown into a gay themed movie just because they want to show a straight
Mhm.
couple. I wouldn't want a gay couple thrown into a straight film just because they want to show representation, because then it's inauthentic, right? You don't. And I know
Mhm.
I'm getting off
Right.
on a tangent here, but like, I don't want representation just to throw it in there. I want it to have a purpose, or
Mhm.
I want it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
you're
want them
right.
to be interchangeable. Like, make it not a big deal, and then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Veronica agrees too, because she just said this, whatever that means. Kylie
Okay.
agrees also.
All right.
So,
Thank you,
what are
Veronica.
some right? So, what are some upcoming movies that you're excited about?
I'm excited about Wolfman. I didn't know that Wolfman and Werewolf different movies, and I saw the trailers for both of them, and I was like, these are really
Yeah.
diffy. Yeah. So I just saw
And
Nosferatu today. It wasn't for me. It's
yeah, you
very
know, I'm listening.
okay. It's very oh, what's the word? I understand what they were trying to do with the characters and kind of give characters a little bit more development. I understand what they
Uh-huh.
were trying to do. I understand that the twist that they were going for in the plot. Just for me, I didn't care for the gratuitous sex that they included in it, but it was very atmospheric. The goth horror was beautifully shot. I didn't think Willem Dafoe did a very good job with his character, which is surprising because he's a phenomenal
Right.
actor. But yeah, I thought Bill Skarsgård did a great job, and Nicholas Hoult did a fantastic job. It just wasn't for me.
I saw something on Instagram today that made me go, "What are they even doing with this film?" Because I haven't seen it yet. But apparently,
Okay.
one of the actors from the film was gifted the prosthetic member that Bill Skarsgård wears in the film.
Okay.
So he has it framed and hanging in his house.
That is something. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't
Hmm.
understand where this movie's going now. I mean, I was hoping for something reminiscent of Dracula from '92 with Anthony Hopkins and Winona Ryder,
Yes.
visually and tonally and all that. And it sounds like I'm getting a softcore porn.
At the end, you are a little bit, yeah, but it is beautifully shot. Like the aesthetics and the atmosphere, like all of that is beautiful. You can tell that a lot of love went into this film. It's just for me,
Right.
the love was directed and it wasn't in the right direction. So,
And that's fair. I mean, not every
hmm,
movie's going to be for everybody. And,
right.
like people love Cold Skin, and I will not see it because I refuse to watch any Robert Pattinson movie since he sparkled in Twilight.
So I like Twilight. I like anything
That's
vampire.
fair.
I didn't like Renfield
I
though.
loved Renfield.
I think Robert Pattinson is I think he's a great actor. And when he was in Batman, I like Robert Pattinson. I like Batman. I like Nirvana. So all of those elements, I like goth and emo. All of those elements were in there, and I just did not care for the Batman at all. Like I thought it was in for me with all of those added in, and it just wasn't.
I absolutely loved the ridiculousness that was Renfield. I loved it, every minute of it.
I think I didn't care for Aquafina like at all. Her
That's fair because I don't
character,
like her in
uh,
much.
yeah, and I think that's what ruined it for me. I just didn't care for it, but yeah, I really wanted to like it when I saw the trailer for it. I was like, yes,
Yep.
I'm going on opening day. This is my movie. And no, I just didn't care for it.
And that's fair. I mean, I know I'm not in the majority because clearly Twilight was a phenomenon, right? It was very
Hmm.
successful. But I said this about Beetlejuice, right? And they called it out in Beetlejuice, which I thought was pretty great. Um, a 300-year-old ghost being obsessed with a 16-year-old is a bit creepy. And the fact that,
It is.
he's
Hmm.
still harboring that 30 years later, and even she says, the 300-year age difference is a bit of a problem for me. I loved that.
Right.
They called out he's being a creep, and we know he's being a creep.
Right.
But I didn't think
So
about,
yes, for Twilight, yeah,
yeah,
for Twilight, there are many
yeah.
problems with it. I'm not going to shy away from that
Hmm.
at all. I like to think that Edward, 18-year-old mind and mentality, and just doesn't have the wisdom or maturity of a 117-year-old vampire. However
That's fair.
old he is. I like it for Kristen Stewart. I'm a big effing
Oh,
homo, and I Kristen Stewart sells it for me every time.
okay.
Take that, TikTok.
I'm not a fan. Um, I thought she was
Okay.
fantastic in The Messengers. I thought that was probably her best
She was
film.
good.
I thought that was a great film, and she did a great job. I have not liked her in anything since.
Have you seen Speak? She's in
I
that.
have not seen Speak.
She does indie
Yeah,
movies, and Twilight becoming a phenomenon really wasn't expected. Had she known that it was going to be a blockbuster hit, she probably wouldn't have done
that's
it.
fair.
I'm just saying that, not knowing her in any way. I'm just going to speak for
Yeah,
her.
of course.
so, so Speak is another independent film that she did before Twilight, and it's really good. If it hit mainstream or if it was like a blockbuster, she definitely would have been nominated for an award of some sort.
Yeah, and that's fair. And again, I don't, I don't know how to say this, and I don't know what it is. Like, I just never have been drawn to her as an actress. Like, everybody loved the movie
Mm-hmm.
Underwater, and again, I just did not think that was for her. Like, I didn't think that that was the right vehicle for her, because number one,
Right.
the movie's a bit of a mess, right? It starts off like
It is.
it starts off sort of like the abyss, and then goes into some eldritch thing at the end. So it doesn't make much
Mm-hmm.
sense in my opinion. But I again, I thought she
Yeah.
was sort of fun in the Charlie's Angels reboot. Like, I thought that was kind of fun, but that was sort of nonsensical. It wasn't
Okay.
didn't really have much to it. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of substance. It was just kind of a fun action
Yeah.
flick. So I'll give her a shot. You shoot me over
Mm-hmm.
some recommendations, and I'll give her a shot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying she's
No,
the
of
best
course,
actress in the
but
world,
everybody
but
deserves a chance.
I like watching her.
Everybody
So,
deserves a chance, right? Like,
yeah.
I'll give you. I have a few
Mm-hmm.
actresses that I will actively avoid their movies. 100% of the time, if they are
Okay.
in a movie or a TV show, I will skip it, and that is Jennifer Carpenter, Sherry Moon Zombie, and
Okay.
oh god, who's the
Okay.
third one? Oh, I just lost it. Damn it! There's three of them, and I will not. Jennifer Carpenter, Sherry Moon Zombie. Who's the third? Damn, I can't even remember who I hate anymore. well, we'll just start
Right.
there, right? Like, I think my problem with
Okay.
Jennifer Carpenter is, it's incredibly creepy that for 5 years she played the sister of her husband on a TV show. And
Mm-hmm.
I have the same
Okay.
problem with, and this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous because this is where I get really pedantic, right? Nancy Sinatra and Frank
Mm-hmm.
Sinatra recorded a song together called "Something Stupid," which is about a couple in love, and that's incredibly
Yeah.
creepy. Um,
That
so,
is
but
creepy.
I
Yeah.
put the whole Jennifer Carpenter acting with her husband as her brother in the same venue. Right? Like, for whatever reason, it just doesn't jive with me. It's a problem. That, and all she ever does is scream and
Right.
say the F word. That's every character. Every character. Sherry Moon Zombie should literally
Okay.
just never be on
Okay.
screen, Kylie, and I don't care what you say. I'm sorry. Um, she is not a good actress. She was tolerable in House of a Thousand Corpses because she had very limited screen time. Anything more than that is only because
Okay.
she's screwing the director. I know I sound like an asshole when I say that, but she
Okay.
has no redeeming qualities. I've given almost every movie she's ever made, with the exception of The Munsters, a shot, and there's zero reason for her to be on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. With Sherry, she doesn't bother me. I've only seen House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's
Mm-hmm.
Rejects with her in it, and I like Devil's Rejects a lot. I know people say, oh, she only gets cast because it's her husband. I kind of like that though. Like, they have a good working relationship. You don't know what kind of harassment she may have gone
True.
through on set with other directors. She might like to act, but just doesn't feel comfortable unless she's with her husband. And I know, like, when I'm creating something, I'll bounce ideas off of
Mm-hmm.
my wife and see like what she thinks of it. She isn't an actor or anything. She doesn't get involved in movies, but it is nice to have
Of
her on
course.
set sometimes so I can turn to her and be like, "Oh, remember when we were talking about this one thing? Can you refresh my memory of what it was?" So I do like
Yeah,
having
of
her on
course.
set.
And I get that. And, and maybe that's the problem where, and I have the same, I'm starting to have the same issue with Michael, oh my God, Mike Flanagan. and his wife. Like I love his wife. I
Yeah.
love her. I think she's a great actress, but I need to see her in something that isn't his. Like I need to see if that's going to carry over,
Yes,
right?
I
So
understand that.
maybe that is the problem. Maybe
Mm-hmm. Right.
maybe it's the vehicle that I'm seeing her in that's the problem and not the actress. But until she
Mm-hmm.
leaves that
Mm-hmm.
comfort zone, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to give her a shot because I will. I'm going to tell you a story that is probably going to not paint me in the best light. Um, I walked into my
Okay.
house with my ex, and he had turned on the Munsters, and I turned around and walked out for 2 hours. I went for a drive, went down to the river,
Okay.
walked around. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do
Totally
it.
fine. No. My wife loves Anna Paquin, and I can't
Hmm.
stand
Fair
her.
enough.
I know she's in Trick or Treat, and everyone loves her. I had to watch 5 or 7 seasons of
Yep.
True Blood because she was
Yep.
in it, and I was just like,
Yep.
"Come on."
That's absolutely fair. I get it, and I'm sure that there are some actors that I love that some people hate. I get that,
Hmm.
especially
Yeah.
like Veronica's talking about the Exorcism of Emily Rose. I cannot watch that film because of Jennifer Carpenter. I just can't. I can't get past.
Okay.
I can't get past
Okay.
seeing her on screen. Even it may be a fantastic film, but having seen her in Dexter,
Hmm.
that's like so. I watched the new Dexter, the before Original Sin, but the
Okay.
next chapter or whatever they called it, where he
Oh,
found his son, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Um, when
Uh-huh.
the only reason I could watch that season was because he could turn her off when she got annoying. Like she was a ghost and she was in his head, so he would just be like, "Shut up, Deborah," and
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
was gone. So it was okay, right? But
Hmm. Yeah.
that's just me, I guess.
I get it. That's
Right,
really
but
funny.
it is what it is, and I get super animated about stuff like that too, which is probably even more entertaining.
Hmm.
I guess I don't know. So we've talked enough about the people that we hate. Tell me about some of the actors and actresses you love. Like who would you love to work with that you haven't had the opportunity yet?
Oh, well,
Of
Heather
course.
Langenkamp, for one. I would love
Yep.
to work with her in anything. Sarah Michelle Gellar, and she's just another Hollywood crush of mine. So, uh, Kristen Stewart, just because she's a
Hmm.
Hollywood crush. But when it comes to like talent, I think Sean Connery is brilliant. I think Ben Foster is an amazing actor. Uh, so yeah, I'm of Hollywood elites like that. But as long as the actor, whoever I'm working with, as long as they give me 100%
Right.
and they are professional on set, like I am totally down for it.
That's awesome. I think. Anyway, I mean, because I get you sort of have to just you have to sort of just lighten up a little bit, especially in being in the industry, because anything you say is gonna blow back a little bit, and you don't want to limit yourself just in case you never know who you might need for a film.
Right.
But me as a not so famous podcaster and just an everyday Joe movie watcher, I can talk all the shit I want to.
Right. Right.
But that's one thing you'll never catch me doing, and I tell people this all the time is if I watch an independent film and you hear me talk about it, it's because I really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
I will never talk bad about an independent film because with independent filmmaking, especially when it's on a shoestring budget or a micro budget or whatever you want to call it, one bad review can make or break a film or make or break somebody's career in that genre. So if I don't
You're
like
right.
it, you'll just never hear me talk about it.
Right.
But I know,
Right.
and that's one of the things I like about TikTok is they're very protective of the indie community. So
hmm
a lot of the people that do movie reviews will follow the same thing, and some people say that it's selling out or whatever, but it's not because it's different. If it's a big studio film, you can shit on it all day. It's not going to make a world of difference, right? But if it's an independent
right.
film that somebody poured their heart and soul into, and you take a dump on it, it could literally make or break them, and I don't want to be responsible for that.
Right. And that's a lot with independent movies. Their shortcomings basically are from they didn't have the budget to fix it.
Hmm.
And like that's not fair because then it turns into money talks sort of
Right.
situation. And some people just don't have the
Yeah.
money to do that. I for one, I don't rely on Kickstarter
Right.
or any type of crowdfunding. All of my movies I pay for out of pocket. I pay my actors, I pay the crew, I pay for everything.
Wow, that's
So if
amazing.
there's a flaw in if thank you, if there's a flaw in one of my movies, 9 times out of 10 it's because I just didn't have the money to fix it.
And that's understandable when you think, and that's what I try and do when I watch a movie is I take into account, okay, this is, this is on a very limited budget. This is, people trying to just have fun and make a movie that they enjoy. I try and take all of that into account when I'm watching a film because you can forgive some things like that, in my opinion, or at least I can. And I know Mark agrees with me most of the time is when you take into account who's making the film, do they have a large backing behind them, or do they then, okay, the mistakes are unforgivable. If it has a lower budget, then of course you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be a little more forgiving.
Right, right.
Oh, bye, Kylie. Kylie had to go get some chores done. Kylie's awesome.
Oh, bye, Kylie.
So sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat. I'm so bad at multitasking. It's terrible because I get my
Oh,
thoughts
you're
get
fine.
derailed, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what was I talking about again?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
are you,
the chat isn't popping up for me, so
well,
I'll yeah, just
for
chime
whatever
in off
reason
of
on
what you say.
Restream, it's not showing. I don't know why. So I
Okay.
have TikTok Live
Okay.
up on the side, so I can see the chat, and I have Facebook
Oh,
Live
nice.
up
Okay.
too. So I'll keep you posted if
Oh,
anybody
okay.
asks any questions. But for right now, they're just talking about how much they love both of us because
Oh, well, thank
it's
you.
our normal crew. The people that do
Oh,
Cinema
okay.
Society Saturday and all that kind of stuff, and they're just awesome people. I love every single one of them. But anyway, back to your movies. So, Final Girls. Please tell me you plan on expanding that at some point in the future.
Well, it's a copyrighted material, so I don't know how much I can go with it since it's a
Oh
Friday the
no.
13th spoof. Yeah.
Well, that's fair.
So,
That's fair.
but maybe just for fun. I don't know.
That's absolutely fair. Do you? So, I'm sorry. Probably should have said this earlier. What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Fearopoly. It's
Thank
kind of
you.
like Monopoly, but with fear.
That's. I knew I was going to screw it up, so I didn't want to say it. So that's why I figured I'd let you say it. I know we have the little ticker at the bottom. It shows your TikTok handle, and I'm pretty sure it's the same on Instagram, right? Yeah.
It is.
So both of those show across the little ticker at the bottom of the screen, so anybody can follow you anywhere that they want to. I do, however, want to show everybody a couple of the things you sent me because these are awesome. Like
Okay.
this little compact is adorable. This is so cute. So thank you very much. This is
You're
awesome.
welcome.
So this is a little Beetlejuice. I got to remember where the camera is. So it's a little Beetlejuice
Mhm.
compact. I don't know why I would ever use it because I hate looking at myself, but it's adorable and it's going to be in this room because I have
Okay.
so many collectibles in this room. It's going to be up here with all my collectibles. This is absolutely beautiful. I don't know where you got this, but this is a little
I
Friday the
made
13th
that
card.
out of resin.
Did you really?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That is great.
Thank you.
Did you use a Cricut for the decal?
I did.
I just realized that was vinyl. That's awesome. I could never
Hmm.
weed something that small. My eyesight sucks.
I only made a few of them for that exact reason.
You did a great job. That is amazing. That is awesome. Do you sell this stuff or where did she go? I lost her. Oh, hang on 1 second. She's back. Hold on 1 second. I don't know what just happened. You were just gone
Okay,
all of a
sorry.
sudden.
I don't know. It's pretty windy up in Ohio right now,
Gotcha.
and my power has been flickering on and off, so
Ah,
maybe it was just a little hiccup. So sorry about that.
ah, fair enough. No problem. You came right back, so we're good.
Mhm.
Veronica's like, no. That's great. But anyway, I did want to say again, since we now have the TikTok audience, Michelle was kind enough to send me a little care package after we did a little bit of chatting and she heard about some of the stuff I went through the last month or so. So thank you again. That was really amazing. It meant a lot. It really
Oh,
did.
sure.
So thank you very much.
Good. You are very welcome. I appreciate what you do for the horror talk community. I know you had to take a step back from cinemas, and I'm sure that was difficult. And I just, people that I care about, I'd like to try to make them happy. And my love language is gift giving. So
Yeah,
if I have something that I think that they'll like, I'll send it their way.
it's absolutely amazing, and it I could not have been happier, and I got a little emotional. I'm not going to lie, that's why I didn't record a video.
Oh, okay.
I don't like showing emotion. It's a problem.
It's a Gen
And
X thing, I think.
yeah, it probably is, and that's sort of why like I got. I'll be perfectly blunt. I did take a step back because I'm currently studying for my bachelor's. I got a huge promotion at work.
Mhm.
15-year relationship breakup. A lot of change happened in a month, so it was
Yeah,
just a
that is
lot.
a lot.
And I did take a step back from Cinema Society Saturday. I still love them. I'm still following everybody. I still think everybody is wonderful. However, I can't devote the time that it needs to help it grow. And the people that are running
Hmm.
it, like
Hmm.
Veronica and Matthew and Gus from Askewed Reviews and Karen, it's absolutely uh, in the best hands it could be, and they're going to do great things with it. So I'm very excited about
Yeah.
that. But I cried a lot, and I made my exit very quiet, so I felt
Okay.
bad. But I did want to explain to everybody what happened and why I did take a step back. So I still love them.
Hmm.
I will eventually be
Okay.
back, but I got 2 years before I'm done with my bachelor's, and then I'll be able to have more fun.
You'll come back. Yeah, from what I've seen on Horror Talk with Cinema Society, there's a new logo. It's a fantastic new
Yeah.
logo. Um, so I have high hopes that it's going to go very far. I know that you guys had a little corner of fear picks
Hmm.
for the movies that you guys did, and a few of the a few of my Fearopoly movies are on fear picks now. There's like 8 of
That's
them,
amazing.
eight shorts. So for some search for it by Fearopoly. You can only do it by the name of the movie. So I don't know. I'll talk to the guy and who runs it and see if something can be done.
Oh, I'm sure Zach is usually very awesome to
Okay.
collaborate with, so I'm sure they'll be able to figure that out for sure.
Yeah.
Veronica, I don't know about that, but it's so much fun. I can't wait. I They were talking, and I don't want to ruin anything, but they were talking about working on another week with Fear Pick. So I'm excited to see that come to fruition if it does.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, that'll be
that
great.
could be a lot of fun. But that aside, I absolutely love the horror talk community because everybody's so supportive. Um,
Hmm.
and it's a very welcoming place. Like if they don't embrace you, there's a distinct reason for it. And you need to look at yourself because of it, because it's not just a matter of they're too cliquish. It's because something has been brought up that is actually problematic, and they
Hmm.
probably have
Right.
receipts. But in
Yeah.
general, they're probably the most welcoming and engaging community ever. Hello, KL Allison.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
I'll take it if it's Jim. Oh Lord. Oh God. So Ryan says maybe explosive like diarrhea when Jim comes back. That's funny. Thanks. That's a reference to Butt Boy, I'm sure. So you said you're not into books. However, if you ever need any recommendations on stuff you could adapt, I have some author friends that have some really great stuff. Just saying.
Okay. Okay.
I
Yeah, I'll listen to audiobooks,
yep.
so if they have it on audiobook, I'll definitely check it
I will
out.
send you some recommendations. Don't you worry. I have some.
Okay. Okay,
One that
great.
could probably be done really
Great.
really well. Um, I need to look it up though. I know it's on audiobook. I just don't remember who the narrator is. But I'll
Okay.
message you. I'll message you. That
Okay,
that one
great.
would be a lot of fun. I think you'd enjoy it. It's a really great slasher flick or slasher
Okay.
book.
Flasher book. Yeah.
Yes, slasher book. Not a flick yet. Fingers crossed. Anyway, is there anything that you have watched, seen, or played recently that you would like to talk about, whether it's horror related or not?
um I've been rewatching Breaking Bad just to have that as like background
I mean,
noise.
that's fair.
Um so yeah, so I keep thinking like, oh, I'm gonna so someone will contact me and they can launder money through my business. That was like a joke that and we were talking about like, oh, it'd be like a doggy daycare business or something.
So, funny story. Have you seen Good Girls?
I believe so. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That show. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
you brought up money laundering, so immediately went there. It was a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic show.
That's a great show. I wish that another station picked it up, or they didn't care that the lead villain was leaving. The three females did a fantastic job and carried that show
They
completely.
absolutely did. Have you going on that same vein? Have you seen the show? It was on CBS for 3 seasons. Why Women Kill.
No. Uh-uh.
If you want a kitschy show, like it's just a little offbeat. Like the first season tells the story of 3 different murders that happen in the same house, and it's done
Mm-hmm.
super well because it moves back and forth in time through the entire first
Okay.
season. The second season and the third season are more linear, but it's like 50s and 60s housewives doing these really unspeakable things. It's just done so kitschy
Okay.
and so well. You should check it out. It's really
Yeah.
fun, and the seasons are
Okay.
unrelated, so you can watch one without watching the other.
Oh,
So
that's good. Okay.
yeah, it's so much fun. Lucy Liu is in it, and she's amazing, and so is I think it's Melanie. It's not Melanie Lindsay. I always get her and the other girl mixed up. Anyway, I'll remember her name, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Um, and Lana Perilla's in it,
Okay.
and she's always fabulous in everything she does, which is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you're gonna have. Oh, so Kale Alistair says you're gonna have that blue meth recipe down pat.
I probably will.
I mean, I'm just saying. We've already been restricted once, Kale. Be careful.
Yeah. Let's do it again.
Yeah, right. There goes my live access for 3 days. I haven't done one of these in a month, and I get restricted in the first 10 minutes. It's great. But anyway, I can totally get what you're saying about rewatching stuff because I just subscribed to Discovery Plus, so I've been falling asleep to serial killer
Okay.
documentaries. A little bit of a basic problem with that, unfortunately. It's very soothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I
Is
fell
it
asleep
okay? All
to
right.
a historical documentary on the Jonestown tragedy the last 2 days in a row.
Okay.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful the things I feel asleep.
What kind of dreams has
Yeah,
that
exactly.
prompted?
Well, that's the thing. I don't remember my dreams, and if I do, they're just really usually what really whacked out. Or like I had
Mm-hmm.
the last 2 days I've had dreams about work where I talked about my salary and got fired like 2 days in a row, and I don't know why because I never
Oh
talk
no.
about money at work. But I'm like, so either I'm really
Mm-hmm.
paranoid about something, but like TV and that kind of stuff just don't bother me generally. And Veronica loves Discovery
Yeah.
Plus too.
Yeah.
I did, however, have you ever played in VR? Are you a gamer at all?
I'm not a good gamer. I like watching people
Same,
play more so than I like playing. But
same.
yeah, yeah, I'll do
So my
VR.
nephew got a MetaQuest for Christmas, right? And we downloaded
Okay.
Exorcist
Yeah.
Legions, where you play a detective investigating possession cases. That is so much
Yeah.
fun, let me tell you. But it's so disorienting.
It
You
sounds
take you
like
take
it.
those glasses off after playing for 5 or 10 minutes, and I get so dizzy. I'm like,
Hmm.
this is so weird,
Yeah.
and I cannot tell you how many times I've stepped on
Yeah.
my dog in the last 2 days.
Oh.
I feel so
Yeah.
bad. He's 16. He's deaf and blind, and he cannot get
Oh
out of my way.
no. I have a Nintendo Switch, and I recently bought the Friday the 13th game for Switch. And I know it's like
The
7 years
Retro Realms
old, and
one?
it's no, the one that came out 7 years ago,
Oh,
that
right.
Kane Hodder, yeah,
Yep.
Gun Media, I think it's
Yep.
from. And I know that the servers are going down, and it's an obsolete game here pretty soon. But I just like playing it because I like playing as Jason. I am
Yep.
awful at that game, so bad at this
Me too.
game. I thought, oh, I'll buy it and I'll stream it on live of like me playing. It is so embarrassing that I think I would lose followers if I if I did a live of me playing this game. I can't do the controllers, so
Yep.
no.
That's absolutely fair. But my nephew, a friend of mine, bought me the Retro Realms 16-bit um, game for my Switch, and it's got Halloween.
Halloween and yeah,
Yep.
Ash versus
And
Evil Dead. Yeah.
yes, it has both of them on
How
it. I
is
haven't played
it?
the Ash versus. It's amazing. Like it's
Okay.
just a side scroller, like you're playing like Double Dragon or something,
Mhm.
and it's just
Yeah.
it is so much fun. But like
Yeah.
some levels are so infuriating. Like there's one level where
Okay.
this hag just throws spitballs at you that just keep killing you. It's great.
Yeah.
It's absolutely great.
Yeah.
It harkens back to the good old days of like ghosts and goblins and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely an 8-bit or 16-bit person as opposed to all the other fancy stuff that they have now. And I do have the Retro Realm on my list of things to buy. I wanted to get the one, it was I don't know, it's a more expensive one. It's the box set and it comes with a little Michael Myers plush doll and I think it has a poster or something,
Yep,
but I
that's the
just
one a
haven't gotten
friend bought
around to
me.
buy it yet. Okay, that's cool.
That's the one that a friend got me, and I love it. It's great. I have the little Michael Myers sitting up next to my little Ash doll right now,
Okay.
but it's so much fun. And I thought to myself, right, my nephew and I have we're playing it pretty religiously till he got his MetaQuest.
Mhm.
So for Christmas, I bought him an Ash pop, like a pop figure.
Cool.
He
Yeah.
didn't care. He just didn't care.
Oh.
Like the things that get me excited don't get him excited, and it's like, oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Has he watched any of the Evil Deads yet?
No, he's only 10. I'm not going to let him see Tree Rape till he's at least 12.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I
Fair
mean,
enough.
I'm surprised I've not been kicked out of TikTok Live yet. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen.
We all have our goals.
We do. So, funny story. You made a comment earlier about Devil's Rejects, and the last time I
Mhm.
mentioned that movie, I got a 3-day ban.
Just for saying those words?
No, I talked about a specific scene in a motel,
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
and I said that's the reason I stopped watching it. Immediately, the
Mhm.
minute I brought up the reason I stopped watching it, I got your live is
Yeah.
ended. You're done. 3 days.
And that's it. Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I blamed Rob Zombie, of course.
Of course, yeah. It's all his fault. Yeah,
Yeah, of
there are
course.
things with TikTok that it's just like, come on, man. Like
Yeah,
ease up a bit.
exactly, exactly. And if you and I did get a ban after that, but I appealed it. I don't remember what that was for. I forget what that was for, but oh well. So, what do you? We talked about the movie that you're editing now earlier. Is there anything else coming up that you want to talk about?
Well, I have two goals for 2025 when it comes to my films. I want to work with other filmmakers outside of Ohio, where I live. I want to travel and film movies. And I also want to start submitting to film festivals. Um, Previously, I was kind of against film festivals. I try to embrace community as opposed to like
Hmm.
create competition, and I
Right.
just didn't like the vibe that I got for film festivals. But I have learned that the way to kind of build relationships in the film community is to go to these film festivals. So
Okay.
uh, I just have to do it. So yeah,
That's fair.
those are my two goals for 2025 to start working on that.
Well, we do have three horror cons in Florida now. So if you come to any of these film festivals, you got to let me know because we will
Okay,
be there to
I've been to
support you
Spooky
100%.
Empire before. Hmm.
Have you?
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
it was in 2018. It was when the X Files was there, and
I
I
was
paid
there.
$400. Were you there? Did you do
I
anything with
was
the
there.
X Files? All
Uh
right,
huh.
all right.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I got my
I.
picture with Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny, and it was a dream come
That's
true.
awesome.
Hmm.
That's amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I had so many feelings about David Duchovny and Alex Krycek.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's
yeah,
neither here nor there. Sorry. Um,
yeah.
yeah, my ex and I started going. Funny story. We started going. I saw I think it was 2006. I saw an ad for it, and Heather Langenkamp had been there.
Hmm.
Um, so we started going every year, hoping she would come back, and she didn't come back for like 8 years.
Oh, geez.
Uh, so at
Okay.
that point, it was just it was habit now. So I go twice a year to Spooky Empire in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this year I'm going to go to the one in Tampa called Spookala.
Okay.
And then I'm actually going to Atlanta in March for Days of the Dead. No, Mad Monster
Oh,
Party
okay.
is what we're
Mad
going to.
Monster. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
excited about
the
that.
I've been to conventions in Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Like I'm all usually East Coast, Midwest area.
Yeah.
The furthest west I've been is KCMO for Crypticon.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if
I'm
they're still
assuming
in
that's cryptid
existence
related.
though. No, they had horror people there. It was
Okay.
I think that was one of Sid Haig's last horror conventions he did before he passed.
Ah, I wish I've not had much of an opportunity to travel, so that's my goal for 2025 is to go on more trips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
starting
definitely
with
treat yourself with that.
yeah, I'm starting with I'm actually going to be meeting up with Ryan and probably David from Sinister Strips podcast and maybe a few other people that I know from Cinema Society Saturday at Mad Monster.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Ryan is in Florida as
Atlanta.
well.
Yep, Ryan and
Okay.
David are both
Oh,
outside of Atlanta, I believe.
I might want to crash that if I can. I love Ryan so much. I owe him
You?
a shout out. He did a review of season 666, and it was right when I was taking a hiatus from TikTok because I get the holiday blues pretty badly,
Yeah,
and yeah, I just haven't felt it yet. So I owe him a shout out, and he's just a great guy. I really love his
he is.
content.
He I was lucky enough he came down. I had an extra ticket to a horror con in Miami. So he came
Hmm.
down for the day and we went to that. So that was the first time we hung out and then we were talking about some conventions in Atlanta. So he's like, you either need to come up to Day of the Dead or Mad Monster. I'm like, well, I'm not waiting for Day of the Dead, so we'll do Mad Monster because I think that's in March, the first weekend of March.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Well,
if
I
you
might
want, if
crash that. So
you come,
I might see you
please
there.
come.
Okay.
We will. I
Okay.
will have booze in my hotel room, and it's 3 minutes from the convention center. So,
Okay. All right. You just sealed the deal on that one.
we are there. We are there. But there's two other maybes. I'm hoping. And
Okay.
Veronica says she wants us to go to Canada. Veronica, Rebecca has been working on something she wants to do in the summer in Canada. If she can pull it off, I will be there.
Where in Canada do we have to go?
Windsor. I think they're
Windsor?
both in
Oh,
Windsor.
that's like 3 hours from me, 3.5 hours from me. I'm there.
There you go,
I
Veronica.
just
We're there.
in Okay. I just invited myself, so hope that was okay. But yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, Rebecca. So Rebecca has talked about, and I don't know if she still plans on doing this, but she has like this big farm with a log
Hmm.
cabin, and she wants
Okay.
to invite people to shoot a film over a weekend on her farm. Like, I think
Okay.
that would be so much fun.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. She and I are just in very early talks of like, hey, Rebecca, be in one of my movies as an actress, and so we just have to pick a date, make it happen, and we'll see. But yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
She's awesome. I have met some of the most awesome people on HorrorTok. Like, I
Hmm.
cannot
Yeah.
I cannot express how much of these people mean to me. It's insane. Yourself
Right.
included, obviously.
Right.
Like that's where we
Thank
have
you.
started.
You as well.
That's where we all started forming friendships and you actually come to care about people, right? And when people like me or anybody
Hmm.
takes a step back, we notice, right? And that's when we reach out, we check on
Right.
each other, make sure everybody's okay. It's not just, hey, push out videos, we want to watch videos, or we're just doom scrolling or whatever. It's we you actually come to care about these people,
Hmm.
and it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, Michelle, I want to say thank you for hanging out with me today. This has been a blast. When is your next
It's been my pleasure.
when do you plan on releasing your next short that you're working on? Or do you have a
For
date
the
yet?
general public, I'm not sure. So we're still editing
Okay.
it. The hope is for early spring to start submitting it to film festivals. And I might put it on YouTube and just send a link out to like friends
Mhm.
who want to see it and just make it a private link
Okay.
and do it that way. So I would say early spring, there will be
So
something.
when you're ready to talk about it again, let me know so we can book you on again. because I would love to have you on again right about the
Okay,
time you're ready
absolutely.
to do that. That would be amazing.
Okay, and we'll talk about it at Mad Monster or wherever we're going in March.
We will do that. Although I'm terrible at keeping secrets, so make
Okay.
sure you tell me anything that's a secret before I start drinking. Just give fair warning.
Oh, nothing is a secret. Okay, totally fine. Nothing is a secret.
Okay.
I'm I'm such a nobody in the film world that no one cares about my
That is
spoilers,
not true. We care.
who the killer is in my movie. It's fine.
No,
Like
we care.
no secrets.
There are secrets. Some things are
Okay, well, thank you.
well, I don't want to say secrets, but surprises, right? Because I did sort of ruin a story for an
Right.
author friend of mine because I got drunk and we were talking about it. So, and then I forgot to edit it out of the
Oops.
podcast. But anyway, I do want to say thank you very much. And guys, if you're looking at the little ticker across the bottom, all of Michelle's Instagram and TikTok handles are down there. So please feel free to follow her if you're not already following her. And you can know where to find us because you guys all already know what horror movies and shit is. So, Michelle, thank you so much for hanging out
Yeah.
today. This has been a blast.
Thank you, and thank you, Veronica, and everybody who chatted with us.